We continue here today at GoETBTigers.com with ETBU Extra. Hello, I'm Mike Mitgiff. We're joined now by the tennis coach here at ETBU, coaches both the men's and ladies' sides, Coach Jeff Bramlett. And Coach Bramlett, I know Saturday was your first match of the spring, and I know you were glad to see your players out there on the courts.
It was. It seemed like years ago since last time we played. Gosh, I guess it was back in October. So it's been a long off season. We're glad to get back to work.
Now, I drove by there late, and what amazed me is how many fans were in the stands watching tennis on a Saturday afternoon.
Yeah, they stuck it out till the bitter end. I can't believe it because it almost got to a point where I didn't want to be out there anymore. You know, we started at 9 o'clock in the morning, and I think Malika hit the last ball at 9 o'clock that night, and it was getting cold, and, you know, just standing out on the concrete that long. It was made for a long day. We had some loyal fans. I really appreciate it.
Now, reason why it was a long day, it was kind of like a tennis doubleheader, so to speak,
right,
as two teams came in to play the Lady Tigers. You had Hardin-Simmons and MacMurray in town. Let's talk about the men's team. Unfortunately, they lost both of their matches to the team, to MacMurray and to Hardin-Simmons. But what were some of the bright spots that you saw from your men's players on Tiger Tennis?
Well, even though we lost the match, it felt like a win. We came out there and won 2 out of the 3 doubles matches and got the early lead. We were up 2-1. Won number 1 men's singles with Tyler. Put us up 3-1, and split sets right off the bat. We won the first set with Ryan, won the first set with Cody, split sets with Dylan, and we were actually up 5-2. With Ryan's match, and just slipped away from us. He hit one of the most incredible shots I've seen probably this year from Hardin-Simmons, and it was just right there for us to take. So even though we lost a very close match, it was probably a match that we were picked to be a big underdog in. And for us to be that close, I think we stunned them that we were that close to pulling off the upset. So it really bodes well for the future for our men's team that we were that close to beating one of the top teams in the region.
Lost the match to Hardin-Simmons 6-3, and then you faced MacMurray. Is it hard for your team to bounce back in the day like that, to play that second match against a team? Of course, everybody does it. It's something you got to get used to.
Yeah, it's something you got to get used to, but it's hard this early in the season. When you've only had 2 weeks of practice, and then to do a doubleheader that early in the season, and then for it to be that warm that early in the season, it's hard to bounce back from. And then we started at 9 o'clock that morning. We didn't finish till 2 o'clock that afternoon, and then they had a very quick match, up there against Laterno. So they were a little bit fresher than we were, and we were pretty tired. We were. Honestly, the men's team was just spent, both physically and emotionally. It was a very emotionally charged match, so we just didn't have a whole lot left in our gas tank for that match, even though they tried as hard as they could. But we had several players starting to cramp and that sort of thing in the match. So it was just, like I say, not much left in the gas tank.
Coming up this weekend for Tiger men's tennis, once again, you're back at your home courts at the Veterans Memorial Tennis Complex, located at the corner of Tiger Drive and Van Zant. I got a match Friday against Centenary, and then a Saturday match against Dallas Baptist. So not 2 in one day. So that's got to be a plus on the schedule.
Yeah, that'll be nice to be able to just get a night's rest before we have to go back out on the court. I try not to schedule just a whole lot of those double headers, but you almost have to, just because of the NCAA rules. If you play 2 in one day, it only counts as one match. So you have to schedule some of those so you can get the proper number of matches, but at the same time, you don't want to tax your players too much. So I purposely put that in there so that we could get a little bit of a break after the doubleheader.
Well, after that first weekend opening season, do you change your seating for this weekend, or you kind of keep it the same?
Yeah, I mean, it's always an evolving thing. I mean, we're always playing challenge matches. We try to do 1 round of challenge matches each week. So we'll reevaluate it. Depending on the challenge matches, but more importantly, we just look and see, how we're doing against our opponents and that sort of thing. And, I'm not sure that I've seen just a whole lot, to warrant changing the lineup. I mean, the men held up very, very well. every position in the lineup, and of course the women. What can I say? Going out there and winning 2 matches, 8-1 against 2 regionally ranked opponents. I couldn't ask for anything better than that, other than maybe asking for a 9-0.
And since you brought up the women's tennis team, let's move into women's tennis now, because like you said, a great weekend for them. And they won over 2 regionally teams. Was that a surprise to you, or did you know that your team had the ability to do that?
Well, I knew they had the ability to do that, and they knew they had the ability to do that. They had that. We've had that one marked on our schedule for a long time. We really wasn't wanting to start off with 2 teams quite that good that early in the season, but it was the only time that they could play us. So I was sort of sweating that match, and I honestly thought they'd probably both be pretty close matches, and I was just a little bit surprised that we won them as handily as we did. And I get involved in the match, and I start living every single match, and then I'm jumping back and forth from the men's match to the women's match, and I didn't even realize we'd won that first match 8-1 until it was over and somebody told me the score. And so, I don't even look at the scores. I just wait till the smoke clears. So yeah, I was a little shocked that we had won it that decisively. I mean, it was just so many matches were so close, and the women just were so mentally tough. They just had the propensity to win just about every close match, and the doubles was just right there. We won that 2-3 girls doubles that were, everything was hinging right there. We were up 3-0 at 2 with Tiffany and Elizabeth, and then all of a sudden we're down 7-4 with match point against us, and we just, like the old saying goes, we ripped victory from the jaws of defeat, and Elizabeth hit a classic a clutch let cord right there, and she said just the way she planned it, and turned the match around. And
makes your coaching job look easy.
Yeah,
to do that.
made me look like a genius. So, so they either make you look real smart or real stupid, and that made me look smart that day. We ended up having the 3-0 lead, and we didn't look back at that point.
2 impressive wins by the Lady Tiger tennis team. The first one was over MacMurray, 8-1, and then you come back and play Hardin-Simmons, also ranked in the top 10 among the West Region ITA rankings, and you win that match 8-1. That's got to be a surprise this early in the season.
Yeah, this early in the season. I mean, you don't expect everybody to be hitting on all cylinders like that. It kind of scares you as a coaching point. It's like, okay, well, we want to be peaking in April, so. But on the plus side, you figure you want to be able to build on that and just keep getting better, and there's always things you can work on to keep improving throughout the season. But for everybody to be playing that well against that good of a team that almost beat UT Tyler, it went down to 5-4 last year, and I think they still have some, I guess some scholarship players in there from their old Division II days, and I know that their top 2 players are as good as anybody in the conference right there with Chloe and Kayla beat Chloe 0-0, and then we lost Kate. I had to pull Kate out of the lineup and moved Tiffany, one of our freshmen, up at number 2, and she came through for us. And next thing I know, we're out there underneath the lights, and they've not gotten their first win against us. They finally got their first win at number 6 women's singles, and it took a super tiebreaker in the 3rd set at 9 o'clock at night, and we still had 2 match points to get that one against when they pulled it off, and then their 6th player I think moved up to number 5 the next day and beat UT Tyler. So I mean, she was a very good player, and we still almost got that win. So it was that was a little bit of a surprise that we almost swept MacMurray. So it was a very pleasant surprise. So hopefully they don't get a big head from it.
That's right. That's right.
I'll have to try to keep them humble.
Visiting with Jeff Bramlett, the tennis coach here at East Texas Baptist University. Final question, Coach. Any final words from you before we let you go and eat lunch?
Nothing I can think of. Do you know what they're serving in the cafeteria
No,
today?
I don't. We'll find out here in just a moment, won't we?
Yeah, I guess we will. All right. Well, thank you very much. I appreciate the coverage.
Best of your teams this week as you face Centenary and Dallas Baptist. Centenary Friday night, Dallas Baptist on Saturday. Of course, you'll find out all the results after the weekend right at goetbtigers.com. Coming up next on ETB Extra, we're going to talk with a member of the Tiger tennis team. His name is Connor Mason. He's our guest next on ETB Extra. Back in just a moment.